And we are live. Welcome to this playoff edition of the bullpen cart presented by ThunderblogSports.com. I, of course, am the G-Man, Jordy Cannell. And with me, as always, is my man all the way up from Boston, Greg, the Prophet Piatelli. How are you, my friend?
Doing well, Jordy. We had a unprecedented 263rd games of the season. Not one, but two. Very exciting games, very close games, and I'm excited for the Red Sox playoffs to begin. You know, they've been playing meaningless games for the last month now, and hopefully it doesn't hurt them, and hopefully they can look strong and sharp here on Friday.
Yeah, we'll obviously jump into tomorrow night, Wednesday night's wild card game between the Yankees and the A's. But yeah, the Red Sox, it'll be interesting to see how they all do. I think we were just talking off air. Chris Sale announced to be game one pitcher, and he was looking decent right down the stretch. So he should be all good to go for stepping up in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he got hurt end of July, early August. So they sort of, end of August, early September, something like that. So they sort of nursed him back, if you will. Very slow.
Yeah.
Bringing him back, which controversial. And he even said if they were in the pennant race, then he would be pitching. But he wasn't. So they sort of, again, very slow having him come back. So he hasn't pitched in a meaningful game or pitched with that juice in a while.
They brought him back for a couple starts, though, right?
Yeah, but there was 40 pitches max.
Okay, all right.
He was on a pitch count there, so
we'll see. I was too busy with Rays Watch 2018.
Rays Watch and Phillies.
Yeah, Phillies hit the over, baby.
But they didn't hit the 500.
And they played spoiler to Atlanta.
But they did not hit the 500.
They did not hit 500, no. But they hit over 78.5. They won 80 and 82.
They won you money.
Yeah, won me money. More importantly, it screwed over Atlanta.
How's that?
Because Atlanta, if they had won those last two games against the Phillies, would have had a better record by one game than the Dodgers and would be hosting that game on Thursday. And now they do not have home field. They have to go out to L.A.
Well, look at that. Gabe the Babe.
Yeah.
What a segue
coming
there.
through in the clutch.
What a segue there, Jordy. Let's start with the game. Or do you want to start with the wild card?
Yeah, so it's on right now. I have it on in the background, the National League wild card game. So if you can't tell, we're recording this Tuesday night. You'll be listening to this on Wednesday. But we're basically, if you didn't listen to what Greg and I did last year, basically the same situation. We're recording it during the first wild card game. Preview both of those and pick who we think are going to win. And then we make our picks in the NLDS for the top seed based on who we picked in this. But we also talk about the possibility of if the other team does win and if that changes our opinion. We wanted to try to do this on Sunday night, but obviously the two game 163s threw a wrench in that plan. And we both were a little busy last night, so we wanted to wait and do it tonight. So right now, the Rockies have a 1-0 lead. It's the top of the third inning. Greg's former guy, John Lester, on the hill for the Cubbies. And from the most part, he's looking decently sharp, but obviously allowed that one run, which was in the first inning, Nolan Arenado sac fly. It looked like they got to him early, but he's been cruising since, it looks like. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting how this game goes because it's obviously a very high-powered Colorado offense, but they're pitching sort of their big question mark here. But Kyle Freeland looks sharp right now. 2 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, 32 pitches total. So he's definitely on an economic trajectory, at least right now. So the Cubs need to just get to him a little more, and we can maybe see the Cubbies pull it out. Greg, what are you thinking on this game?
So this guy asked the starting pitcher for the Rockies, asked for the ball tonight.
Okay.
And whenever a pitcher does that, or whenever a player does that in anything, 9 times out of 10, that person delivers.
Mark Messier.
Yeah, so I, going into the game, I mean, we could sound like idiots after the fact, but going into the games, before I found out about that, I 100% was on the Cubs, and then I found out this Rockies pitcher's like, no, fuck that, I want the ball. So then I was like, oh shit! Like we talked about this last week, didn't we? About how the Rockies they can win that one wild playoff game because they have the hitters to do it, but they don't have the pitching to sustain a full 7-game series or 5-game series. But they can squeak out a 1-game victory.
So I was thinking about this today, just building off that point. Sorry to interrupt you. Are the Rockies like last year's Yankees team? Because we thought this same thing, and their offense is better than last year's Yankees, but their pitching's maybe a little less. But are we? I'm trying to think. Am I giving the Yankees pitching rotation more credit last year because they made it to Game 7 of the ALCS? Like we didn't think that highly of them. Remember? Are they this year's Yankees?
No, because the Yankees had way better pitchers last year than what the Rockies
and what Colorado's got. Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
The Yankees still had Tanaka. They still had CC.
That's right. Playoff CC came to play last year.
Yeah, they picked up Sonny Gray at the deadline. Like
Yeah, you're right.
They had names, whether or not they were old or what have you, but they had names. So, yeah, no, definitely not this year's Yankees.
Okay. I'm sorry, but continue. Just your keys for this game, and who do you think pulls it out?
I'm going to stick with my gut, my original pick. Actually, it's so tough, Jordy, because a week ago I said the Rockies could win a game like this.
Yeah.
I'm going to mash the Cubs. Mash the Cubs.
Yeah, you got it. I'm in the same boat. I'm going to stay with them, especially with it being in Wrigley. I just think they got close yesterday with Milwaukee. Colorado has been all over the place. And I don't know. I mean, I think if their offense was going to explode for this game, I think they'd explode and get to Lester early, which they haven't done. He just got out of the 3rd inning. So they have to, I mean, in the next inning or two, 4th or 5th inning, they got to put 4 or 5 runs on the board, get them out of the game, get to their bullpen, which we've talked about. It's been up and down for them, especially that middle relief. And yeah, I think that's their key to winning there, because otherwise you're going to give the Cubs more and more times to get some momentum, the different ways they can build that up and bring players off the bench. I mean, I think if that happens and they leave the Cubs in this in the 9th inning, they have how many different comebacks between David Bote, Bote, B-O-T-E. They're one guy. He's actually starting tonight, but they just showed a graphic. 5 of the 6 home runs he had this year, Greg, was either to tie or win the game for the Cubs. I mean, and then they have Anthony Rizzo. They have all these different guys who have had incredible seasons. And I don't know. I just think it's tough to bet against them at home. If it was in Colorado, I'd think 10-9, flip a coin, but at Wrigley Field is tough.
I hear you.
So we both picked the Cubs here.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
And if we picked Colorado, would that change in terms of Brewers versus Colorado or Brewers versus Cubs? Would that change?
If I pick Colorado, it would make the pick of the Brewers. It would give me the Brewers. Yes, an absolute. Gotcha. I think because Colorado's pitching is so much more volatile. And I think it's a lot of the same with the Cubs too, because both teams just feature really good offenses. Milwaukee's has been especially hot coming down the stretch. So I think if it was Colorado against Milwaukee, I just think Milwaukee they might win they might sweep them. They're definitely going to come back they're going to definitely at least split in Colorado and win the first 2 games in Milwaukee. So they'd win in 4 games. I think though, Brewers-Cubs, the Brewers have had the Cubs number recently. So it really just depends on how the Cubs come back to them. I mean, Cole Hamels, obviously, we talked about this earlier I think it was still in September, that Cole Hamels had said, it's really not been that much of a rivalry. And then the Brewers won, 5 of the last 6 games in the regular season?
Yeah, I mean, and they won the playoff game against them, right? Or the 163rd game against them.
They won yesterday.
So, I mean, with Yelich winning the MVP and former Red Sox Travis Shaw, I didn't realize Craig Counsell was their manager, by the way.
You didn't?
No. I mean, another former player, just like Cora, young or just retired. I feel like, and so good for him.
His batting stance.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah. Worse than Craig Biggio, but
better or worse than Gary Sheffield.
I loved Gary Sheffield's.
Yeah, the fucking hands. That was the best one to emulate when you were playing like wiffle ball or something like that. Counsell was another one that you could did just for the fuck of it, but like Gary Sheffield, if you could time that right, because you could just get your hands right in there to just blast one. Counsell, I don't know how he was that good of a hitter. That's something that like he must have tried that in high school. And if you've never seen Craig Counsell hit, just go YouTube it. He tries to make himself as tall as possible.
So, Jordy.
Yeah.
Are you officially on the Brew Crew?
Yeah, so given that it is Cubs Brewers, I think it definitely goes to 5 games. I mean, it's going to be really interesting because what Milwaukee's been able to do, holy shit, that was close to going out. What they've been able to do, especially with how hot Christian Yelich has been unreal. The guy is pretty much solidified himself. We talked about it last week in the MVP conversation. But I mean, they are coming into the playoffs red hot, white hot almost. They have won, I'm counting it up now, 8 in a row, including game 163. And their pitching is pretty damn solid. I mean, it's definitely the Cubs have all the name brands. Yeah,
quick.
What was that?
Real quick. Does that 163, do those stats count for the regular season?
Yeah, they do.
So all these guys,
they don't count for fantasy, but they count for like his all
these guys either averages went up or down based on 163, ERA went up or down 163.
Correct.
What if a guy broke Barry Bonds' record in game 163?
What, they hit a 74th home run?
76.
Was it 75? Shit. Whatever number it is. No, it'd probably be like what's his face's was. Put an asterisk on it. Remember Roger Maris when he broke Babe Ruth?
So
probably that sort of thing.
So here's the thing about the Brewers team. Do you remember when the Rockies, I believe 07, was it?
Yes.
When the Rockies
when they lost to the Red Sox,
went on an absolute tear, won how many games in a row to end the regular season? When
they lost like 3 games in September, something like that.
Right. They didn't lose a single playoff game, and then they get swept in the World Series.
So that's a really good point. They had to sit on their asses while the Red Sox came back from 3-1 against Cleveland. And the Red Sox just then took over as the hot team. This
reminds me of that. This Brewers run that they've been on really for the last month reminds me of that. We're talking about a team that was in 3rd place. You and I were talking about St. Louis as potentially being the playoff team, and they really came back and champs, NL Central champions. Yeah. So
you want to know something about that team too, Greg?
What's that?
They also won their division in a game 163, the 2007 Rockies.
I mean, just call me like
the more you know.
Just call me like I know everything without knowing anything.
At the start of the World Series, the Rockies had won 21 of their last 22 games, including the playoffs. They swept the Phillies in 3 games, and then they swept the Diamondbacks in 4 in the NLCS.
And I just have a feeling that this is a similar story, a similar team.
Okay.
I think did Tulo win the MVP that year?
Let me see.
Almost like a Yelich winning the MVP this year. Like, am I crazy, or are the parallels like looking us in the face?
No, Troy Tulowitzki was on the team, but Matt Holliday had a much better season. I'm looking at the stats now. I mean, holy shit. He batted 340, 36 homers, 137 RBI. Remember Garrett Atkins? I forgot about that guy. Tulo only batted 291 only, and only had 24 home runs and 99 ribbies.
Oh,
Todd
Jimmy
Helton.
Todd
Helton was. Oh, yeah, that's right, because he predicted the Phillies were going to win the NL East. I forgot about that. I always remember Ryan Howard in 06. I forgot about Jimmy Rollins in 07.
Nice. Sorry.
Classic Phillies fan.
Little tangent there, sorry. But yeah, so that was I have Matt Holliday was second. Okay, but the point being that this team,
what makes this team so good though is their bullpen. Their bullpen is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They have Josh Hader, who
we've been talking about all year. And this team you're talking about is the Brewers.
The Brewers, yeah. They have Corey Knebel as their closer. And I mean, they have other guys that can slam the door too. They have Jeremy Jeffries. They got Josh Hader's closed out some games. They've got other guys that have put up some saves. But think about this too. They picked up Gio Gonzalez from the Nationals. They have all these different guys who, similar to that Rockies team, have sort of higher ERAs. But as long as their offense is going off, they just have to hand the ball off to their bullpen guys, who most of the guys that we just named off have ERAs under 3, and let them do their thing. They have their guys similar to that Kansas City Royals team in both 14 and 15 that made the World Series. That's all you got to do is just let them get in there, and their offense is much better than those Royals teams were.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they certainly can do it all, and it's almost with the Cubs, it's almost like they have the names like the Dodgers, but is there not enough field to go around? Like, for instance, the fact that Schwarber and the guy who made the speech last year or the World Series year, like they're not even the starting lineup tonight in the wild card game for the Cubs. So to me, it just screams of, if the Brewers play the Rockies, they're definitely winning that series. And if the Brewers play the Cubs, I think it's close, but I think ultimately the Brew Crew team, they're the Rockies of 07. So Jordy, I wanted to correct myself. Troy Tulowitzki was a rookie.
Yeah, I was about to say, I almost said he wasn't on the team because of how long he's been in the league.
He was a rookie in 2007.
Was he rookie of the year?
Yeah, he won NL Rookie of the Year.
Damn. All right.
Sorry, he came in second to Ryan Braun. My mistake.
Wow, Ryan Braun was a rookie in 2007. Holy shit.
Yeah. Anyway,
they also had Kaz Matsui on that team.
Yeah. I mean, anyway, the Brew Crew, team of destiny for me. So I think they ultimately win that first or the second round there. Let's swing over to
five games.
Yeah. If it's the Cubs 5, if it's the Rockies 4, maybe 3.
Okay. Yeah. I would agree with that. I'd take the Brewers.
Let's swing over.
I'd like to see the Cubs get back there.
Let's swing over Braves, Dodgers.
Yep.
Braves didn't really play meaningful baseball, but gets.
Well, they were trying to get home field, so it was meaningful for them.
But
they were playing their big guys against the Phillies the entire weekend.
They were very streaky end of the year, if I remember correctly. Like, they won a whole bunch of games in a row, and then they lost a whole bunch of games in a row, and then won a whole bunch of games in a row, and then lost.
They had a very, very streaky September.
Yeah.
But they, at the end of the season, really until the last week, they 4-game sweep the Phillies to clinch the division. And then when they needed it the most to try to get home field, they lose 2 or 3 in New York, and then they come to Philadelphia, and it looks like they're going to roll the Phillies. They won 10-2 on Friday night. Then they got shut out on Saturday, and they lost 3-1 on Sunday. So, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see which Braves team shows up, because this happened when they played the Red Sox, right? Their offense didn't really show up. They did one night, right? And their pitching can be really good, but it can also be all over the place. So,
and Dansby Swanson is no guarantee to even make the first round roster. So for me, I'm taking the Dodgers at the end of the day, just because the Braves, almost like the Phillies, they weren't supposed to be in this position.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how? Sorry,
I was just going to say I agree with that. I think they show their youth in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that's a valid argument. Can we talk about how Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis played all 162 games?
Yeah, how awesome is that?
That's two guys. They had two guys who played 162 games. That's crazy.
Yeah. Ozzy Albies almost played the entire season. He played 158. Ender Inciarte played 156. Like they have some dudes that just grinded out a full season, especially Albies, full big league schedule. And I was there. Acuna probably would have if he hadn't been Chris Bryanted.
Nice, well played. Yeah, and I just think the Dodgers. They've been playing meaningful baseball for so long. Nothing really seems to fit. It's
that same argument you made with 2007, right? The Red Sox had to keep playing meaningful baseball and kept the bats warm. Obviously, you come back from a 3-1 lead, from a 3-1 deficit. You got a lot of momentum riding on that wave, but they still were playing while the Rockies had some time to cool off.
And as you mentioned, the Braves ended the season on a bad note, and the Dodgers really ended the season on a good note. So, that plays into it, and it seems like
the end of the day too. The Dodgers starting staff is just much more solid and much more playoff seasoned than Atlanta's is. I just think that makes such a huge deal, especially like Fulton Evans had an okay second half of the year. Teheran, pretty good year. He won 17 games. Same with Sean Newcomb, won 16, but still their ERAs are pretty high. I just think it's going to be really, really tough for them to try to grind out a couple wins there. Anibal Sanchez is in the same boat.
They had 0 qualified pitchers.
I think Fulton Evans, Newcomb, and Teheran can qualify.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
They pitched in 31 games each.
I know, but it's about how many innings. It's about innings pitched per team games.
What's the number? 1?
No, yeah. So you have to have 1 inning pitch per. So you have to have 162 games
innings pitched. Fulton Evans had 183. Newcomb had 164. And
are we talking about the Dodgers?
I'm talking about the Braves.
Oh, I switched over to the Dodgers. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. No. I was talking about. I'm still talking about the Braves pitching staff. The Dodgers pitching staff.
So I switched to the Dodgers, and you had said that the Braves.
I was saying that the Dodgers have the edge on pitching because they're more seasoned. Because they went to the World Series last year. Most of their pitching staff has remained unchanged.
All right, we'll cut that.
No, that's okay. It's they got to know that we bleed. We bleed like you bleed.
Nice. Mike Fulton he's good, man. He's decent.
He's had a great year.
He's had a great year.
He's had a good year. He had a little bit of a rough stretch for a bit of the season, but there's a reason why he's now 13-12. He was off to a great start, but he's still he had a little bit, or he was 13-10. Excuse me, I saw the quality starts number. No, but I just Clayton Kershaw figured out what the hell was going on with his, with all of his playoff stuff last year. You got Rich Hill, who's been pretty solid. Alex Wood.
So the thing that scares me a little bit is this bullpen for the Dodgers. Unproven, untested. Kenley Jensen. He look
streaky in the playoffs. The one thing I do like, they have Ross Stripling, who became a starter for them, but started the year in their bullpen. So for a while, he had an ERA as a starting pitcher of 1.2. And that's because he was a bullpen pitcher. So I think what they would do is probably move him to the bullpen and use him as this every other game come in and pitch 2 or 3 innings and be this stopper for them. So if you have a classic Kershaw playoff start where he is, you can bring in Stripling as what the reliever was originally used way back in the day. And you're right, Jensen's been a little streaky this year, and he has been in the playoffs as well. But you got other dudes that can come in and help out there. Kenta Maeda moved back to the bullpen. He can be solid there.
So I'm thinking I'm going to take the opposite side here. I think the Braves had the edge in pitching, just because after Kershaw, none of these names excite me.
You're not getting after it for Hill or Wood?
We saw
Walker Buehler could be good.
We saw what Hill did last year in the playoffs, and I don't know. Buehler had a great year, and he was the one who pitched their playoff game, right?
Yeah.
He looked good. He looked like he can handle a moment. He looked like he can handle the big stage. So
Yeah.
maybe they keep him as a top 3, Kershaw and him, and I mean, who do you have then next, Wood or Hill?
I'd probably go Rich Hill, and then in a 7-game series have Wood as your number 4 starter. That leaves you with Maeda. It leaves you with Stripling. It leaves you with Scott Alexander, who's been a solid enough pitcher for him. I'm just looking at who else is eating innings. It's not Kenley Jansen. Hyun Jin Ryu, he's pitched a number of innings. I'm not sure if he's hurt or not, but he looked pretty solid for them. Josh Fields has looked solid enough. I mean, they got guys that can eat up innings for them.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, it's not about eating innings. It's about keeping the runs down. So
yeah, that's true. But I mean,
so I would almost give the edge to the Braves, but ultimately the offensive edge, and it's just too much, I think. And I think that the Dodgers pull this one out.
I like Dodgers in 4.
4, huh?
Yeah. You going 5?
No. Yeah, I like 4.
Yeah. It's a sure enough number, I think.
Atlanta will be buzzing. Let's pop over to the American League quick before we move on to the next round. Is that okay?
Yeah, that works. Do you want to do NL and ALCS, or do you want to save that for next week?
Oh yeah, we can save it. I thought we'd do the whole thing, but yeah, we can save it.
We can make quick picks, but I mean, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah, no, we can save it. Wild card game, Jordy. Yankees Athletics. While you're gathering it all together here,
Greg, they announced that Luis Severino is going to start. Do you remember Luis Severino in the wild card game last year?
Yeah, but he settled down so much more after that.
That's true.
But
I think it's great that they're getting back to him.
Oh, I agree, and I think this is the Yankees and Brett Broone's little brother. This is their way of giving him his redemption. This is his redemption chance, right? They kind of blew CeCe in terms of blew his chances of pitching because they had him pitch Saturday or whatever, Sunday maybe. So not Sunday, but so they really. I mean, Tanaka, Sonny Gray, which Severino, Tanaka, Sabathia, or Gray, which of those guys does not pitch, is not a starter? If the Yankees get out of this wild card game,
what, in a 5-game series?
Yeah,
I think you'd probably go all 4. I think you'd go all 4 of them, and then and
let Severino go game 5.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so the thing that gets me about this team is the fact this game is in New York, because they have.
You're talking about the Yankees currently, right?
Yankees and Athletics, yeah. Because this game's in New York, they have that little little league
short porch,
little league short porch, and right that a fly ball anywhere else goes out, and everyone knows it, everyone says it, so no surprise there. But that to me is the difference, just because we saw last year what the home run ball can do in the playoffs with both Houston and the Yankees, and even the Dodgers for that matter. And I just for a team that again had the most home runs and led the league in home runs 2 years in a row, blah blah blah. I think the proof is there, but the scary part about this Yankees lineup, I think, is that they don't outside of certain 3-4 guys, they don't have a set lineup week or day to day, right?
They've gotten more of a set lineup in September, though. Like, they didn't play Aaron Hicks as much,
right?
And they've solidified a little more and more as the season's gone on.
And just, I'm trying to find a reason to pick against the Yankees because I want to play the Yankees so badly. Because I'd rather have the Red Sox play the Yankees, simply because I think the Red Sox have a better chance in a 5-game series against the Yankees than I do the Athletics. Just simply because the Athletics mash left-handed pitching, and the Red Sox, all they have is left-handed pitching for starters.
Yeah.
And then you turn around and look at Oakland's starters, and and Oakland's pitching staff, and the numbers that this team put up, Jordy, that being the Oakland Athletics, unreal. Like
their offensive numbers?
No, bullpen pitching numbers.
So I'm glad you bring that up. You saw who's starting for them in the AL wildcard game?
Who's that?
Liam Hendricks, one of their relievers.
Really? Not even Manaea?
Nope. They're going with Liam Hendricks, and I would assume they're just going to go full bullpen game. Hendricks, Greg, 25 appearances. He actually started in 8 games. So he's been a bit of a starter, but he's been more of a reliever coming down the stretch, but only 24 innings pitched this season. So they've done this strategy a couple times with him. 4.13 ERA and pitches about 18 pitches in a start. So he's only probably pitching 1 or 2 innings, and then they're going to give him the yank. So what do you think of this? Do you like them utilizing the bullpen starter strategy?
As you and I, who have been preaching this about the Rays all year, for me to say no would be going against everything. But in a 1-game playoff, where, as we saw last year, everybody, you go to the bullpen so early, I guess, in terms of the Yankees and Twins last year. I don't hate it. I don't hate the strategy. It screams to me you don't have trust in your starters. It screams to me and to your team and your fan base that again, you just are preparing that you're going to need to have 1 million pitchers pitch, and screams to me inexperience in terms of this wild card game, in terms of this playoff game. So already a red flag for the Oakland Athletics, and makes me want them to win so that the Red Sox can play them, because now I'm even less scared of them simply because of this managerial snafu, in my opinion. What do you think of it?
Well, so it's a big analytics play, and Billy Beane is the godfather of doing this.
You think
doing the analytics?
You think he's the one who's pulling the string?
I'm sure he's in I'm sure he's in their ear on making some sort of decision on this. I think it's something where they saw that the Twins and the Yankees did this last season and want them to, they want to say, fuck it. Because basically they'd rather not waste a Manaea start. Whoever they want to throw in as their starting pitcher, they want to save that if they get through it. And I understand you first have to get through it. This is the Baltimore Orioles 2 years ago not using he's on the Yankees now. They're using Zach Britton, thank you, because they were whatever. They wanted to save him. But I don't know. I think looking at this and deciding this is how we're going to get through this game, they've used it a number of times. That's the big thing here. And I think they want to play the odds and see that works for them. Use, as you said, the short porch to get their own power in. We're talking about the Yankees, and yeah, they did a ton in terms of power numbers, but the A's are no slouch there. If they want to turn this into a slugfest game, they can try to do that. So I think, I actually do think it's going to be a high scoring game because they're starting this. Severino looked good in the ALDS and the ALCS before the Yankees lost. But I still think that the A's can get to them because they had a good record against the Yankees too. Not as good as they did against the Red Sox, but I don't know. I think I like this to be a high scoring game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be a high scoring game as well, but it has the feel of this to me as one of those games that, like, you think it's gonna be high scoring and then you turn around and it's 1-0.
3-2, yeah.
Kind of like what we're looking at tonight, a little bit with this Cubs Rockies game, but 2 high powered offenses that turned around and gave us a stall. But
I thought that last night about the Chiefs and the Broncos. Burned me on the over.
Yeah, I could have told you that, but
everybody was saying that. I went against the contrary.
Well, I mean, the
public money was also towards the over. So
well, you had to take the under. Those two defense, at least the Broncos or the Broncos defense.
Yeah, I pretzeled myself last night. I went 0-1-1. The fucking line pushed for the Chiefs. Anyway, back to baseball. No, you're absolutely right, though. We could see like a 3-2 game and be like, oh, great. That said, though, I mean, I think Oakland could have those spurts that get them to win a 3-2 game because the Yankees have been inconsistent in terms of their reliance on the long ball. If Oakland's utilizing this bullpen strategy, they could be doing that to try to negate the home run effect. Again, that's where the analytics are coming through, and they're probably seeing. I just cleared out of the pitching stats, but all right, we're going to use this guy and we're going to use Hendricks in inning 1. We're going to use this guy in inning 2, 3. We're going to use this guy 4, 5, and then there's a bunch of ifs. If we go one way or the other, the Yankees sub here. If they get a runner on and we end up having to face the 9-hitter in the second inning, blah, blah, blah. Then they figure out, different ways to pivot. But there's definitely a mind over matter strategy that I think Oakland is drawing up for tomorrow night's game.
Yeah, it's one of those moves, like the Ryder Cup.
I think that's really the only way I can rationalize this decision.
It's either going to be a genius move or it's going to be like, what were you thinking?
Yeah,
Or is it almost like a cocky move? Like, we think we're going to win this game so much so that we're going to turn around and save our starters.
That's what the Yankees are going to be saying in the clubhouse tomorrow. That they think that they're getting through to Boston. They don't need to start someone against us.
I think the Yankees are so caught up in their own shit. They have no idea what's going on outside of themselves because everyone on the Yankees is so self-centered. When was the last time you heard about any Yankee player or team giving back to the community? Never, ever.
Oh,
just a terrible organization. What a terrible organization.
Oh.
If only we had like a national following where people would like, dude, you're such an idiot. Here's 9 examples just from today.
We need someone to chirp us.
I'm sure your roommate and my roommate do enough of that. But
Matt's girlfriends. So Matt's girlfriend has 4 sisters, and they all have boyfriends. So all their boyfriends chirp Matt on the podcast. So we at least have that going for us. I don't know if they listen when he's not on. We know Matt doesn't listen when he's not on. So
that's also true.
Yeah. Who knows?
Who knows? Also, can we talk about Syracuse winning you money? How many weeks in a row now?
Oh, Greg, I'm 2-0 betting Syracuse football and 1-1 betting Lehigh football.
You're welcome.
And 1-0 betting Delaware football. So I mean,
huge fan. So Jordy, what do you got? Yankees or Athletics?
I'm gonna go with the Yankees. I think the additions they made throughout the season have helped them out a ton. And I just think that's going to be the difference maker there. McCutcheon's been a huge add. And I don't know. I just think they can grind out runs. Even with the massive dependence on the long ball, I think that they'd be able to grind out some runs against this Athletics team because that's such a volatile strategy to use. What about you?
I'm going Yankees.
Is that more out of fear of playing the A's as a Red Sox fan, or are you going nonpartisan here?
No, I think I've debated this back and forth, and with the fact that Judge was able to get enough at bats in time for the playoffs, because we saw how much that offense sputtered without him.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back and Giancarlo starts hitting home runs again, and the offense just seems to roll a little bit more when he's in there, and Didi starts to find whatever, and so.
Another nonpartisan question to you: is it concerning at all that the Yankees have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 batters with over 20, with 4 with over 25 home runs? Gleyber Torres at 24. And only 1 batter with 100 RBI. Is that unbiased as you possibly can? That's just weird.
Well, no, it's because all they do is hit home runs, and they're all one.
I thought
No,
the Phillies were home run dependent.
No, they're all solo home runs.
Shit, yeah.
They led the league in home runs the last 2 years in a row. I mean,
if you have 38 home runs, as Giancarlo Stanton does, and he actually has 102 runs, but he should have way more RBIs than 100. That is absurd.
I mean,
that is nuts. That's not even, that's barely, that's not even, my mind is a pretzel.
So last year,
trying to bet the over on the fucking Kansas City Chiefs.
Jordy, last year,
Andy Reid, what the fuck? Sorry.
Listen. Last year, in the exact same number of games played, Giancarlo Stanton, he had less at bats last year, more at bats this year.
Yeah.
Okay, he had 21 more runs scored.
He scored 123 runs
last year with the Miami Marlins. Okay, this year with the Yankees, he only scored 102. Okay, yeah. Last year with the Marlins, in less at bats, remind you, less at bats, he scored. Sorry, he had 4 more hits than he had this year. Okay, now home runs. He had 59 home runs, 132 RBIs. This year, 38 home runs and 100 RBI flat.
Yep.
Okay, he struck out 211 times this year compared to 163 last year. 211 strikeouts
this year,
as opposed to 163 last year. So he has the RBI numbers. But the point is, you're right. It's this Yankees team, as they have been all year, and all Yankee fans brag, oh my God, we're most home runs, blah blah blah, MLB history, one season, nah. Guess what? Oh, yeah. They're all single. You know, like you mentioned,
they're all single. Over 100 strikeouts. That's appalling. Their strikeout numbers are appalling.
Because all they do is hit home runs or strike out. They go for the home run every single fucking time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it doesn't scare me, because that's why I'd rather play the Yankees.
Perfect transition.
You know that, I mean,
now we're getting the bias.
You could because you could get those nights. You could get
where they go ice cold.
Just like when the Red Sox swept the Yankees 4 games in August. You know, in a 4-game series in August.
Does last weekend concern you?
No, the Red Sox, no, not at all. Last weekend does not scare me, because the Red Sox haven't been playing meaningful games since who knows when. You know, once they locked up the best record, once they locked up all that, you know, they had the division. Really what it was, Jordy, they didn't want to celebrate in Yankee Stadium. So that's why they won on Sunday, so they could get out of Dodge and party on the plane on the way back to Boston. And then they played the last 3 games against the Yankees, and they had starters go like 3 innings, and you know, lost 2 out of 3 to that one too. But end of the day, you know, there's a reason why the Red Sox, when it counted in meaningful games, when it counted, I just have a feeling that the Yankees, you know what they're going to be. They're going to put up X amount of home runs, X amount of runs, and the Red Sox can get to their pitching, that Yankee pitching staff. They've proven they can do it all year. So,
for sure,
to me, if it's Yankees, I think it's the Red Sox in 4.
Okay,
maybe 5 actually.
So before we jump into the Red Sox lineup a little bit, I got to say, before we even jump into their lineup, I know the fans are ready for playoff baseball, Greg. Quick playoff, or I guess technically regular season creature. But your boy on the Monster throwing a Stanton home run ball back and hitting him. Kid with the cannon.
So it came out that he is like a Minnesota Twins fan or a Houston. Oh. Yeah. So.
Oh no!
He was
come on.
He was just at Fenway.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Well, still, he's not a Yankee fan. Could you imagine that if you just like somebody's like, throw it, kid? Yankee fan.
Yeah, right. He has eyes closed and just hucked and chucked.
Henry Rowan-Gardner style.
He literally had his eyes closed, and they interviewed him. He was like, "Yeah, I had no idea where he was going." And next thing I know, it hit him, and he was like, "I'm a Twins fan," or something random like that. 108 wins, Jordy.
Yeah,
108 wins.
Big season.
108 wins. Okay, won the division by 8 games. The Baltimore Orioles were 61 games, finished 61 games behind the Red Sox.
Yep.
How many, Jordy? How many games? 61 fucking games.
61, baby. Come back to that asterisk.
Not 2 MVP candidates. Mookie's definitely going to win. The only question mark to me about this Red Sox team,
okay,
is you have to assume Kinsler gets to start at second. Okay, so then the question mark becomes third base. It becomes, do they go with Eduardo Nunez, or do they go with Rafael Devers?
Ooh.
You assume Moreland. You assume they rotate between Moreland, Pierce, based on the lefty or not. Mm. And then there's Brock Holt to consider. Brock Holt, Mr. I do everything right. He also could be a third base potential candidate. Or does Nunez play second and Kinsler goes to third? Is Cora going to go with defense in terms of Nunez, or does he go with the bat in terms of Devers? So that's the only question mark about this whole team.
Interesting.
Now, Jordy, when did the Red Sox get rid of Hanley Ramirez?
Earlier this year. May?
Right. He's 12th or 13th on the team in at-bats. How many at-bats he had?
He had 177 at-bats, looking at it right now.
I mean, that's crazy. Anyway, 40, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, for me, I think I think the Red Sox in 4 or 5 versus the Yankees, and I think the Red Sox in 4 versus the Athletics.
Okay.
What do you got?
Yeah, I think they win no matter what. I think their pitching outclasses both teams by I was about to say an immense margin more against the A's than the Yankees, but I don't know if I necessarily believe that. But it is better. It's better against both no matter what. I think they get through. I'll probably say 4 for both. But if I had to pick one that would go to 5 games, I'd say it'd be the Yankees, just because it's a rivalry. They'll find a way to figure it out. The Yankees will, or God forbid, the Red Sox go down 2-1. They'll find a way to grind back out and get this, because I think they have the Yankees number this year. But yeah, I'd take the Red Sox no matter what. But I think they'll have a harder time just because of the rivalry in the playoffs. And it brings back my question of, and same thing with the Cubs playing the Brewers, of just teams that now are building these rivalries. The Yankees and Red Sox obviously have a very deep rivalry. Now that have the possibility of playing in the divisional round, and whether or not Major League Baseball would actually explore expanding it to a 7-game series. I know going into November kind of fucks up everything, but who knows if they want to do that. I think that drives up the numbers. Yankees, Red Sox is, aside from a New York, LA World Series, is probably Major League Baseball's like pipe dream of what they want. I don't think they're going to try to rig anything that way. So don't interpret my words that way, but it's always just a thought in my head of if they would want to do that. But on the point, Red Sox get through no matter what.
I love it. Houston Astros, Cleveland Indians, Jordy. Any chance Cleveland Indians actually win or make this a series?
I think there's a chance they make it a series. I don't know if they win or not. That Houston team is pretty goddamn complete. I mean, I'm trying to think like you have to have them because they have guys that can do it, right? They have Ramirez, they have Lindor, they have all these different dudes that could light it up, and their pitching's decent. Like we talked about this last week when we were running through the AL Cy Young, and if you haven't listened to that, great segment from us. Not to brag, but I just think Houston, they have the starting pitching, obviously. They have a bullpen. Their offense can do it any which way. Cleveland's can too, but it's almost Houston light, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this offense for Houston is just too prolific. The Indians have the starting pitching, and I guess even the bullpen for that matter. They have the starting pitching bullpen to stifle this offense in a way, but Houston starting pitching is no slouch in and of itself, and they will I think just as easily shut down Cleveland starting pitching. So, I mean, are we looking at 2 years in a row of Cleveland losing to the Astros first round?
Well, no, last year they lost to the Yankees.
They lost to the Yankees, yeah.
And the Astros beat the Red Sox. But here's what concerns me is that Cleveland's batting average a little bit lower than we've seen. Lindor is batting 277. Ramirez is batting 272. Both have scored over 100 runs. Lindor has almost 40 homers, one less than Ramirez, and Ramirez is 106 RBI. Edwin Encarnacion also having a pretty good year, but his batting average and on base percentage are both pretty low. Here's and the reason why I bring up on base percentage, the Astros don't walk a lot of guys. Garrett Cole walked 64 batters. That's 2 batters per start. He started 32 games. Justin Verlander walked 38 batters. He started in 34 games. Charlie Morton, 64 batters in 30 starts. Dallas Keuchel, 58 batters in 34 starts. Lance McCullers, 50 in 22 starts, so we won't count him, but still, that's still a pretty good ratio. Their whips are all floating around 1. If the highest is Keuchel at 1.3, Charlie Morton's is 1.6, Cole's is 1.03, and Verlander is sub 1.
I'm giving the advantage to Houston. I mean, Cleveland.
Yeah. Are you really pitching?
For pitching. I'm giving the advantage to Cleveland.
Why? Because they strike out more batters aside from Verlander, and Cole has a ton too.
Well, Trevor Bauer. I mean, he was right there, but
well, Bauer. We don't know what we're going to see out of Bauer because he's been hurt. That's the issue.
Kluber, Clevenger, Carrasco, Bauer, even Shane Bieber, like all of them, okay, this stupid made-up war fact, okay, all of them have unbelievable war. Same with Houston pitching.
Greg Piatelli, enemy of the process.
Enemy of the war. What gets me here is their ERA. Their ERA is just better than Houston's ERA.
That's true. Their ERA is very solid. They don't let up runs.
No, and I mean, 25 quality starts, 21 quality starts, 19 quality starts, 20 quality starts. I mean, this Indians team, their starting pitching is just very, 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 very unbelievable good. And here's the problem: is if it gets the bullpen, if the starters can't go, then I think advantage Houston.
So here's one that I'm going to correct myself on Bauer. He did pitch a couple games at the very end of the season, and he's come out of the bullpen for him in one of those games. So that's a possibility for them. And he was solid in those last couple starts. So that is one that we could look at. And just like how we were talking about with what was it? The Dodgers and how they could use that. They can utilize that. So we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. But I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see where they get. He actually recorded a save, Greg, on Sunday. So shout out to Trevor Bauer there. But I don't know, man. I think that Houston offense is going to be pretty solid with Jose Altuve. We talked about it every week. Jose Altuve, just like with Aaron Judge, but Jose Altuve definitely made a much bigger impact. He starts it off. He can get on for him. And I like advantage Houston here.
No, I think Houston ultimately pulls it out just because I think bullpen and offense is what you need in the playoffs, and I think they have that. So I think they do pull it out, but I just feel like the starting pitching advantage goes to Cleveland. So it comes down to how long those starters can last and make it through. So, but yeah, no, I'm ultimately going Houston as well. So Houston sucks.
What do you think? How many games for Houston? 5?
I'm
gonna go Houston at 4.
Yeah, I think they win the first 2. Fuck it. We haven't picked a sweep yet. Let's pick 3. Fuck it. I'm going 3.
Sweep. Oh, advantage Cleveland starting pitchers, and they're gonna get swept.
Yeah, because once you get to the bullpen, hello bats. It's like the Red Sox all year. The Red Sox, like you look at the times that they got shut out, is when the starting pitcher went 8 innings or 9 innings. You know, like the Red Sox, Houston, you know, they just mash relief pitchers. So
yeah.
Anyway, Jordy.
Right, so we both have the same 4 teams making it to the championship series. Do we want to do quick picks, or do we want to pause and come back next week?
I think Brewers are the team of destiny, which is sort of an upset over the Dodgers. Although bookmakers have the Dodgers to have the highest chance after the Astros to win. Yeah. So a little bit of upset for me in terms of Brewers over Dodgers. And it is so hard for me to pick against the Astros. Despite my favorite team having 108 wins. I just don't feel that I don't feel that their starting pitching can handle Houston's offense for a 7-game series. I don't think their bullpen can handle Houston's offense for a 7-game series. I don't think they have enough pitchers to handle a 7-game series. Now, if the Red Sox can get out of that series in 5, maybe, but there's no chance that they can go 7. So I have to pick Houston.
Okay.
And that's my unbiased opinion, just based on the bullpen, based on their pitching as a whole. They will not last 7 games against Houston, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. Houston is a team built to last, and I agree to pick them in the ALCS. I am going to go with the Dodgers. I just think that offense is going to click, and it's going to take advantage of a.
So same exact World Series.
Yeah, I hate picking the same teams in championships.
Is the Major League Baseball becoming the NBA?
Oh God, no. God, no. If it became the end, I mean, and this is a league that doesn't have a salary cap. Remember that. But no, that's a clown question, bro. Find another slant, Greg.
I mean,
well, let's watch it be fucking Yankees Cubs or something in the World Series. We're fucking idiots.
Fuck the Yankees. The Yankees aren't going anywhere.
All right, A's Cubs. A's Brewers.
I'm in on the Brewers. I know you're out, but I'm in on the Brewers. It's gonna be.
I'd like to see. That'd be a cool story to see if they went for a run on their A's fucking Rockies. Can you imagine that? Rod Manfred comes out on November 15th, being like, guys, let's get to the disaster.
So Jordy, again, this Milwaukee Brewers team reminds me of those 7 Rockies. Milwaukee Brewers reminds me of those 7 Rockies, and that's why I have them going straight to the World Series. You got to ride the hot team.
That 07 Rockies team just too deep of a dig for me. I guess it's the old
you got to ride the hot team.
You got to lose how to win to know how to win, and that's what the Phillies did. So who knows? Maybe they.
Listen, you have to ride the hot team. You have to ride the hot team going into the playoffs. The Brew Crew are that team, but I think they run into the buzzsaw that is the Houston Astros or is the Boston Red Sox, and lose.
Yeah, whoever wins that series, this is the classic NHL Western Conference is really the Stanley Cup Finals. Whoever wins that series wins the World Series.
Yeah, I hear you. Jordy.
Greg.
Great season. Great pod.
A great season.
I love that we wrapped up 2018 regular season. I'm looking forward to exciting playoffs. It looks like the Cubbies still down 1-0.
We'll see what happens, man.
Might not pull it out, but thank you so much, Jordy. Thank you to the fans. Thank you. What a year. What a season.
Hey, we still got a little more to go, man. Final stretch.
I know, but it's playoffs. Anything can happen now. Go Sox. And Jordy, if you're not watching the Bruins Wednesday night, tomorrow night, if you're not watching the Bruins take down the defending champs.
Bruins are going to be good, man. They're going to be really good. I have Charlie McAvoy in both of my fantasy teams. Not that anybody cares, but.
Hey, listen. Don't put down your fantasy team, all right? Don't you do it, Jordy.
I should have gotten you in this one league I'm in. The guy who runs it's a big Bruins fan.
I love it. You know what I'm going to do here, Jordy, for you?
It. What do you what?
You know what I'm going to do for you?
What are you going to do for me?
I've been bashing your boys. I've been bashing the Flyers and that stupid fucking mascot.
Gritty. My man. Another bleacher creature. Gritty came to the Phillies game, so they'll have the Fanatic come out at the end of the 7th inning. So not in between when they do take me out to the ball game. The end of the 7th inning, the Fanatic comes and dances on the Phillies dugout, and he brings out little kids and stuff. And they start doing that, and the PA announcer goes, "Fanatic, stop the music!" And out comes Gritty. Gritty comes out, and everybody's going ape shit. The Fanatic teaches him to do some of his dances, like the Fanatic's beer belly dance, and Gritty was all in on it, man. Gritty is the mascot for adults. He's the mascot Philadelphia needs. But I'm sorry. Continue to compliment my my Flyers, the orange and the black.
No. They're top 6, Jordy.
It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
It rivals almost any top 6 out there.
Yeah. They just need to be consistent. You need a healthy Wayne Simmons. You need JVR is going to be a huge. Now that he's back, he's going to be a huge help for it. But you need Voracek. You need him to match what he did 3 years ago when he had an unreal season. And assuming Couturier matches last year where he had 30 goals, I think Giroux is on that same pace as he was last year with over 100 points. The only other player aside from Connor McDavid to get 100 points, but finished 4th in Hart voting. But regardless, not bitter or anything. I mean, Nolan Patrick's going to be their third line center. He's going to need to be a big X factor. Well, that's really the thing with their third line. Their fourth line is going to be probably just dudes coming up and down from the AHL. But then their defense, that's going to be the real key. Outside of Gostisbehere and Provorov, what do they got?
Yeah, I hear you.
Big Sanheim, are they going to stay in the NHL? You may never heard of them. Gudis, cut fucking Gudis. I hate that fuck stick.
Wow. Tell me how you really feel.
Greg, the Flyers had a 5-2 lead in Game 6 of the first round last year against the Penguins, and this idiot, with like a minute and a half left in the second period, allowed the Penguins to score 2 goals because he just looked like Swiss cheese, and he left his goalies hanging out to dry. Nobody likes that. And then the Penguins end up winning and on some dumb penalties that weren't called. Oh, my blood's boiling. All right. Well, we have to do once we figure out a little more of the schedule of the baseball playoffs and everything. We got to do a hockey pod. Get Matty D involved.
Huge fan, Jordy. Tell them where they can find all the stuff.
All the stuff. Thunderblogsports.com is where you can find all of our great blogs, including the Fun V Tailgate, our football blogs. The Fun V Tailgate football podcast is going to be recording Wednesday night, so get your questions in either on the website in the comment section or tweet us at ThunderBLG or find us on Facebook at Thunderblog Sports, just like Instagram, where we just put up a bunch of nonsense of either me watching sports on my television at home. If you were following along over the weekend, you could have seen that I watched the U.S. lose in the Ryder Cup, woke up at 2 and just slept on my couch while watching it. Greg and I were texting each other during it, and some chirping back and forth from the two of us. Greg, I need to give you access to it so you can actually defend yourself, because I've starting to tweet at you some trigger warnings.
Yeah, I don't really use Twitter that much, so I feel like I need to get in the game here.
Yeah. Well, and the Instagram because another one was that they did the Philly special segment on Fox NFL Saturday or Sunday, and I thought Greg's not going to like this. So I tagged you just for the fun of it.
Again, teams were doing this pass the quarterback play for years.
Did you hear them say that on Monday Night Football, by the way? That Patrick Mahomes, you saw his left-handed pass.
Yeah.
Jason Witten goes, tomorrow somebody's going to say, oh, we ran that in high school.
Listen, this isn't running in high school. It's everyone and their mother throws a pass the fucking back, all right?
The halfback pass. And he can't pass. It's a line from a movie. We already knew about it. Just Nick Foles, baby. He almost quit football. He believed. But this is going to wrap it up for us before Greg and I try to virtually murder one another. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Go baseball. I know Greg's in it.
Go Sox.
Yeah, all right.
Go Sox.
That's it for my guy, Greg Piatelli. I am the G-Man. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Jordy, congrats on winning. Congrats on winning your bet.
Thank you.
All right, now you can end it.
Peace.